everyone, it's me Medhavi Visal and welcome back to my channel. I finished reading yet another book and it is the biography of one of the most prominent leaders of Burma, that is Aung San Suu Kyi. This book is written by Jesper Bengtsson, and this book is a really interesting book about the life of one of the main and one of the most important leaders of Burma, Aung San Suu Kyi. Now let me start. We should start by the name. The name Aung San Suu Kyi is not completely her name. Aung San is her father's name, Suu is her grandmother's name, and Kyi is her mother's surname. So, in the Buddhist culture, there is a culture that you have to keep your father's name at the first, then you can keep your name and then your mother's or your grandmother's surnames or names at the last. So, her actual name is only Suu Kyi, not Aung San Suu Kyi. But Aung San is also known as a national hero in Burma. He was also a political leader and one of the most important leaders that fought for the freedom of Burma. Her political career started, her political interest started when she was really young, because her mother was also interested in politics. Her mother was also fighting for women welfare and for the improvement of the condition of women in Burma. And her father was also a national hero and he knew a lot about politics, and they used to talk about politics at their home when she was born. When she was very young, her father was murdered by the military there, by her father's opponent, who had planned the murder for many long months, because what he thought was that her father, Aung San, was not a capable leader for Burma, and that he himself, the opponent himself, was the only person who was able to rule Burma, and the other people were not qualified enough. So he decided that, and he was older as well, so he decided to murder Aung San Suu Kyi's father. And then when she was very young, her father died, so she did not get the love of her father, but she knew that her father loved her very much because her mother told her tales. She remembered a few things, a few memories with her father, and her mother was pretty much alive until she was big enough, until she was growing old as well when her mother died. So she had two brothers named Aung San Woo and Aung San Lin. Aung San Lin was only one, the difference between them was only 1 year, and he died when, and her brother Aung San Lin died when she was just 7 years old, and because he was going to a pond to fetch a toy that had fallen, and then he was found hours later dying in that pond because he had drowned. So that was also one of the most hardest moments in her life, because she was pretty close with her brother Aung San Lin, and she had a really hard time, and she used to just feel sad because she would not get to play with Aung San Lin, her brother, anymore. So that was also a miserable time for her, because her father and her brother died, and her mother did not want to stay in the place they were living anymore because they contained so many memories of the dead ones. We also happen to think that if someone has died somewhere, then we do not want to go to that place because it brings back old and fresh memories, and it brings out fresh wounds, it brings out fresh cut in the heart. So her mother did not want to stay here, so they shifted at another place far away from the place that contained memories of her father and her brother. But she respected her father and brother, and she had many memories with them, so she kept their photos at her houses as well. So slowly she was growing up. Her mother grew her up in a formal way. For example, like these days, children's parents play with the children, they spend time with the children, but her mother did not do that. Aung San Suu Kyi's mother did not do that. She raised the children in a formal way, and a concept in Burma is that children should not be watched that much by the parents. Children should be set free. So her mother raised her up in a formal way, and yes, she was close at some times with her mother, but not that much like the parents are closed with the children these days. And even she was closer to her son than her mother was with her. So slowly she started to grow up, she started to learn about politics, and she started to learn that the people in Burma were being opposed, they were not being granted their freedom. So she started to fight, but she did not want it to be known as the national hero Aung San's daughter, but she wanted to be known as Aung San Suu Kyi, an entirely independent person who is not dependent with anyone. But she could not avoid the identity of being Aung San's daughter, because Aung San was also a national hero, and everywhere she was popular. In one of the schools she went, all of the people were given English names. All of the children were given English names, and the teacher insisted that her name should be Aung San and not Suki. But she fought for her rights even there when she was a child as well. She wanted to be called Suki, not Aung San, because she was not her father. Her father and she were not the same. So she fought for her rights, and she wanted to be known as Suki, not Aung San Suu Kyi. So yes, her political career started to grow. Because of Aung San, halfly because of Aung San and halfly because of her own talents, her own attraction, she started to gather many followers, and the military government in Burma, the junta, did not like this. So after some times, after she started to gather followers, after she started movements in the country, the junta put her to house arrest, because that was the only way. Because if she was to rot in jail, then the people of the Burma would blast. They would come out of houses, and they would obviously throw the junta out. But if she was only in house arrest, then nothing would be left for her, and then everything will be fine, and the people would not ruin them, then the people would not throw out the junta. So they were scared that they would be thrown out of the government. So they did not throw Aung San Suu Kyi into prison, but they made her house her own jail. She was sent for house arrest for a long time. The junta's aim was that she would be sent for house arrest for such a long time that even the people of Burma would already forget her by the time she came out. But that was not the case in Burma. But after she spent 7 years in house arrest, being captivated in her house with only books to read, with only pianos to play, people were shocked to see that she was still in a healthy mental and physical condition. Nothing had changed, and she still had the energy she had 7 years ago. She told in an interview with the writer that the junta gave her 7 years to rest, and now it was time for her to start her movements again. It was time for her to free the country from the military opposement and from all of the freedom that the country is not giving them. It was time to fight for the rights. But after she was released, the people also started to carry many kinds of movements. So the junta did not like that, so they sent her to house arrest again. The writer had a time to take interview in between the time when she was released, so that's how the writer wrote the book. The writer also took interviews with many of Aung San Suu Kyi's colleagues, many of her friends, many of her family members who are not in jail. And then Aung San Suu Kyi, the writer learned, and the writer has written that Aung San Suu Kyi was a really bold kind of woman. When we're a child, we're obviously scared of darkness. But when we are going to sleep, then we switch off the lights, then we go under the covers to make ourselves feel safe. But Aung San Suu Kyi's habit was a bit different. She would go to the top of the house, and she would stay there until she was adjusted to the darkness, and then come and sleep. She was not scared. She was a bold lady from when she was young. So that's how she started to be bolder enough to maintain her condition when she was in house arrest. She did most meditation most of the time. She had a track made inside her house. She used to do exercises. She used to play piano. She used to read many books related with politics, fictions, etc. And that made her mental as well as physical and social condition strong as it was 7 years ago. Of course, after some time, junta started to loosen the people, and the people were carrying smartphone that they did not have 10 years ago. So that was a kind of a positive view of the junta, but still they were not granted their rights, and the Burma is also really economically damaged, one of the most economically damaged country, and Burma is also suffering because of the junta, and then the people in Burma are not getting are not getting the freedom they want, and then they are being captivated inside their own country. So that's what Aung San Suu Kyi is fighting for. She's still in house arrest. She is already a senior citizen now. She has already crossed the age of 60, but still she's fighting for Burma and its right, and the rights of the Burmese people. She's still fighting to remove the junta from the government. She's still fighting to come and establish a free government in Burma, and she's still fighting for all of the rights of the people, for the country, for the people. Now, what I learned from this book is that Aung San Suu Kyi has still grown so old, but she barely looks old. She barely feels old. She still has that energy of when she was first sent to house arrest, when she first started the movement. So what I learned is that success and fighting for rights does not end, and does not end anywhere in life. In every step in life, you will face the challenges, but you need to overcome your fears. You need to face the challenges, and you need to go ahead in life, and you should not stop fighting. You should not think that, oh, this will not be successful, I should not fight. You should fight for your rights as well as all of the people around you, and you should fight for your country as well as all of the people that are living with you or that are around you in your country as well as the whole world. Thank you.